you're looking for a step-by-step tutorial on how to create an interactive Power BI dashboard, here is the place you're looking forward to seeing the great tutorial for that. So right now, if I select either of the measure right here, it helps me to activate it and show whatever value is right on it on this particular visual, on this visual, and on this visual, plus this visual. So right now, if I just deselect it right now, what it says is this. It says order quantity is what is currently selected. But on this part, this is not what we are showing. Right here, we want to know what is our best selling day. Like on this particular product, like audio right here, we sell audios on Thursday so well, and on Wednesday we sell much of this particular kind of product, all that. So we are going to actually go through everything, how we did it, and even as well the star schema, set it up and get our data cleaning Power Query. Not just that, we are as well going to some kind of create our date table inside Power Query. Already I have it for you. You can have it downloaded and actually copy and paste it inside your data, and voila, everything will just work just like magic. So if this is what you're looking forward to seeing, let's get on it. In this dashboard project, we're going to actually get data and actually remove the unnecessary columns. Create date table in Power Query. Data modeling or star schema to connect our tables, write DAX, and supporting table to actually group our measures. Custom dashboard templates that is going to be created in PowerPoint. Splitting columns, very important. And the last but not least is to properly align our charts and other visuals in our dashboard. Let's get started. All right, the first thing we're going to do right now is to actually make sure we insert a new PBRX. Just click on new right here, and now give it some time. It's going to actually be inserted for us. If you are just getting started, once you actually just launch your Power BI, this is the interface you're gonna see. The reason why I have this one was because I've been working on other files before now, so I'm gonna have this. So if you just open your blank, new downloaded one, you might not find something else, just what I have right now. So I'm gonna click on get data. And now first thing you need to do is to understand the kind of data you wanna get. So previously before now, we've used the same data to create a dashboard, but this is a different, kind of dashboard entirely, still with the same data. So now we have to understand what is the extension or what is the file type. Right here is Excel, which is XLSX. And we have text file, we have CSV. You just have to know which one you want some kind of get from your system. So now coming right here is what we want to get. So if you go ahead and choose this particular text or CSV, there is no way it's going to be visible for you. So you have to navigate through what you want. So now that is the Excel workbook. Clicking on connect right here. So we're going to go to our system and pick it up. Can you see what I'm talking about? So here they are. So we have the fact table, which is the first table I'm going to get into Power BI. But I'm not taking this to Power BI for the first time. I'm just going to take this to my Power Query. Let's get it. So clicking right here right now is going to actually help me to load it and ask me to decide where do I want to have it load into. Okay, here we have the tables contained in this particular file. So we have the first table to be sales data, sales orders sheet, and we have sales. So they have both, data inside it. So I'm going to select this one right here, and I'm going to click on transform. So when you click on load, what happens is this. It's going to load this to Power BI straight up without you doing the cleaning, which is not proper. So let us go ahead and say transform data. So now expect another interface to be open for you, which we called Power Query. Alright, welcome to the Power Query environment. If you had been watching my tutorial before now, you must have known that I always love to check my data quality. How do you do that? So right now, come to view and you can see the column quality right here, which shows you every single column, what is the health of it. So here you must, if the column is very healthy, you're going to have it on valid 100%. The error should be 0 and the empty should be 0. When you have a value or a percentage that is above 0 right here, just know that you have to do some cleaning. So we can actually go around it and check what the heck is going on, if there is anything we need to do to actually get it some kind of transform or clean rightly. I think there is nothing. Every columns here are very okay. So you have to do this checking in order for you to make sure you're not loading any error inside your Power BI. So after this, the next thing to do is to come right here and just try to say fact table. So fact table is what some kind of host our transactional data, and we have the dimensional table which we're going to start getting right away. So now we don't need to go back to Power BI to get the rest of the tables again. So what we have to do right now is to go to home, and from home right here you have recent sources, right? So recent source, I'm going to go to Excel workbook, and here we go. We have the dimension. First of all, I'm going to take in my store location right here, double click on it, and the store location will be loaded. So now I'm going to go with dimensional table. So make sure you check here for you to have this particular place active. As you can see, we have something different, not just like the previous one we loaded right here. The reason is because we are not coming from the Power BI environment, rather we are actually onto Power Query. So all we have to do is to click on OK and have it loaded. Okay, right now probably we have it right here, and the column quality is very okay, which is cool. But right now we have to actually get to remove some unnecessary column. Just like what I've said when we are beginning this particular class, there are some columns that we're not going to need or we are going to use. So we have to get it off, or we to keep our file size very small. All you have to do is to scan through the whole table to see which of the columns you are going to need. Number one, you can actually get to do it from here. Just scan through and see all the columns you're going to need. So the columns we're going to need to use is actually the store ID, which is very important to be used for connection when we get to Power BI with the fact table. Now we're going to need the city name. Okay, we're not gonna need this particular county here. This state code, we don't need it, and we need the state. So now I've gotten to know how many of it we're going to need, how many of the columns, and we need the type. So how do we get it off? Go right here and click on choose column. As you can see, when we click on choose column, we're going to have these two up. So just choose columns right here. So now you can choose the columns you want. What I'm going to do right now is just some kind of deselect everything. I want to use the ID. I want to use the city name. I'm going to need the state and the type. Then I'm going to need population, maybe, whatever. So now those ones selected there, what we're going to see when we click on OK. Let's do that. Now we're keeping the table very short, so the file size will be reduced for us. That is what you need to be doing, so that when you actually refresh your data, it wouldn't take a lot of time to get some kind of refresh. Though we don't have very huge data right here, if you are dealing with millions or billions of data, you wouldn't have any problem when you want to refresh. But make sure you cross-check very well before you do this. It's very important. So just like the way we've gotten those tables right in, so we've just gotten the other tables right in here for you, which I believe you can do. But right now, something is wrong with this particular regions table. But before we decide to actually fix it, let's do this. I'm going to come right here quickly. And right now we have regions. So I just want to make sure I say dim. And the dim is going to be, the dim stands for dimension. So dimension is my dimensional table. So quickly, I'm going to come right here. Instead of we to actually have column 1, 2, and 3, so we have the column header right here. We have to make sure we move it up. But before then, let us try to see how we can get this particular validation of like the quality. I'm going to turn it off. That is beautiful. So now go back to home, and quickly once you get home, you can see where we have, use first row as header. Just go ahead and click on it, and that is all you need to do. Beautiful. Okay, now that we've gotten this, we have to do the same thing to this one right here. All we have to do is to type in dim for dimension. So you can use underscore, is all your choice. So it depends on what you want to use. I'm going to do the same thing to this as well. So underscore dimension. And the last but not least is this particular one right here, which is our product. Okay, that is dimension. Okay, now we are done with everything. So we've actually gotten our table styled. The next thing we're going to do right now is to make sure we bring a date column right here, which is one of my favorite. So in the previous video where we use the same data, we actually created our own table. Like we created our own date table from the scratch. But in this particular aspect, I'm going to be sharing with you this same date table we're going to use, and you can use the same thing as well. So we're going to go right to where we have it. Okay, Power Query. Sorry for that. Let me just make a search. I think I have it opened. So here we have date table, and on this table right now, we have to remove most of the columns. We are not going to need, because we don't need all these dates right here. But it's a very fast way to actually create or create report in Power BI using custom dates. So you can see we have lots of them. So how do we copy this? Because it's actually open in another PBRX. So for we to copy this away from here to our new PBRX, what can we do? I'm going to go ahead and have this place open there. So quickly go to home, and from home we have to go to our Power Query. Let's just watch the magic. It's very simple and easy. So now here we are. Forget about those ones right here. We don't really need them. What we have some kind of much concern about right now is the calendar or the date table. So quickly I'm going to go right here and right click. And what we're going to find is where we have copy. Just copy it. That has been done. So go ahead and minimize it. And we're right on the, let's go back and take where we have our on Power Query right on. Here we go. This is our Power Query. And come right here. Can you see where I've just clicked right now? And right click on this particular part as well and click on paste. That whole date table will be pasted right here for you. So you can decide to have this downloaded alongside with other files. Then every single time you're actually creating any dashboard or report, you can paste it right in and have it used ASAP. That is all you have to do. Let us wait for it some kind of come up. Beautiful, we have it right now. So the next thing we're going to do is to see how we can choose the columns we want to use. Now the first thing we do is this. We have to understand that this column is very important. This column is important, and it depends on what you want to use when creating a report. Like I love using the short form, so we don't really need this one, which is the long one. I'm going to get it off now. So it's optional. If you want to use this particular part to actually get it off, is your own option. But what if we go to Power BI and have it hidden in Power BI? What about that? Is that really an option? As I've said, it depends, but I want to use this particular part here to get off all those ones I don't really want. So the month number is going to be used to sort this particular month right here. We have to let it be. I'm going to scroll this way. Just follow me to remove any of these that we're not going to need. So the physical month, I don't need it. We're not going to use that. I don't need the physical month right here, the physical month long, the quarter, fiscal quarter, and fiscal year. So I'm going to get this off for now. Let us see how many we have left. So now we don't need this, and this. Let's get it off. Okay, now next again, we don't except you want to use month and year to analyze your data. So in my own concern right now, I don't really need to do this. So I'm just going to get it off. So please don't take off everything I'm taking off right now. So you have to follow how your data is like to create something you really want. You get it? So you might need it. So if you need it, just go ahead and keep it. So for the week number, I'm going to leave the week number to sort the week days right here. Take this off as well. Okay, next is actually my weekend, like where we have weekend and weekday. So we might need this particular column. So let it be here. And now we have sequence of number. We just want to get this away down to here. I'm going to hold on my what? I'm going to hold on my, hold on my shift and highlight everything and delete them. So now we are actually trying to keep our data as short as possible. We want to do the same thing as well, your shift key, and we're going to go, oh, sorry, we made a mistake from here, a shift key. Now we'll get it off. So can you see what we're left with right now? Not too much data to be used because we have a lot of columns that we might not necessarily need to use while we analyze our data. So what do we need them for? Nothing. So we have to get them off. So right now we've gotten a calendar table that we can actually load to Power BI right now and actually create our star schema or data modeling. So let's get on it. So the next thing we're gonna do right now, once we are done from here, is to some kind of like push this into Power BI, which is very important. So as you can see right here, if you're just getting started, you might not know what is going on right on this particular part. Let me show you what it is. If I actually open it up right now, what it gives me is 3 conditions. Like the first one is close and apply. The second one is apply, while the third one is close. When we close, which means it's not going to be applied into Power BI, but when we click on apply, it's going to apply and not to close. But while we actually click on close, it's going to close the same window we are actually right on right now and apply the data we have just gotten cleaned and transformed right here into Power BI. So let's try it. I'm going to click on this one. So we are leaving this particular part entirely. Now we are going to Power BI environment. So now let us give it some time to some kind of load the data for us. So as you can see, it's loading the data. It depends on the speed of your computer. That is how that works. So after this right now, the next thing is for we to actually get to know how this star schema work or the data modeling to connect our tables. All right. Now that we've gotten our data pushed into Power BI, it is time to take a look at what the tables are like. So I'm going to come right here to our data view right here. And first of all, I want to take a look at my fact table. So we need to understand what the fact table is all about. So under the fact table right here, this is where we're going to have our date. So, and if I scroll to this end, we have transaction like the discount, unit or price and cost of goods sold. And we have some IDs that connects our dimensional table. So which means if we go to this particular product ID right here, so we have the ID for product ID for each single product that is going to be present here in our fact table, right? So this particular product ID, we can have 25, 46, and 22 to appear as many times as it called. But when we come to the product ID itself right here, so we don't actually have to appear many times. It is actually appearing once. This is what you need to put in consideration when we talk about fact table. Fact table actually hosts, the transaction of an individual, company, locations, or whatsoever. So going back to data modeling right now, this is what we're going to have. But before we definitely step into this part, let us take a look at the previous one we have worked on. So coming right here, we have this nice star schema right here. I can decide to some kind of collapse it. So we're going to have them collapsed and they will look just like this. So we can have proper star schema, right? Can you see it right now? So now those ones you see that are disconnected table, they are what I call supporting table. If you have been watching this video from before now, you must have known that I love organizing my measures so that when I want to make any changes, I will know where to go. So this is what it is. So we need to actually connect this. How do we go about this and how do we know where to have it connected to? Let us get to the, one we are creating. So I'm going to go right here. So this one is some kind of splitted and spread across, the surface. So we have to arrange it. First of all, we have to take our fact table. So I told you the fact table is what is some kind of housing majority of our data, right? So once we've taken our fact table, we just have to maintain other tables right here. You can move this up. You can just bring this down. You can take this up as well. So I can just bring this down. Then go ahead and have this right here. So now we are very correct. So the next thing is for we to some kind of create the connection. So how do we know which one is right? So you have to make sure you have the same ID name on every single part of it. Like when we come to this particular sales team right here, we have sales team ID. So we should locate where we have the sales team ID right here, which is this particular one, and drag it and connect it to this. You get it? Now we've just gotten that one connected. So right now we have on that table with some kind of imported. So we don't need this table. So I'm going to actually have to get it right here. So make sure you just don't connect this. So we don't need it. Those are the tables we're going to be using. So the next one is like, I want to connect my product ID to my product ID on the fact table, but mistakenly, I went ahead and connected to the wrong one just like this. What is your fear? You'll be like, how are you going to some kind of correct this? It's very simple and easy. If I hover over it, this is what it is, a wrong connection for that matter. So all you need to do is to right click and don't delete, just go to properties. And from properties, you can have this changed. instantly. So now we have this particular dimensional table to be product ID. So we have to locate where we have our product ID right here, which is this. So change it from, customer ID to this product ID right here, and go ahead and click on OK. So that is corrected. If we hover over it now, let's see, now this is what we have. Now we have the customer ID. We can either drag this to the customer dimensional table, or we can still okay, we want to drag this very store ID to the store ID right here. Can you see our connection is actually being established? So the next one is actually our calendar. So if you look at the dates table we have right here is 4 date tables, right? But which one are we going to use to have this connected? So we have order date, we have delivery date, we have, procure date. So the order date is the date that, everyone orders. Like if you like to make a shopping, the day you actually ordered for that product is the date that they're going to keep. And the next day they're going to keep is when they're going to ship that product to you. So for that, if we have to make connection right now, we have to choose the order date. So I'm going to drag it and have it right on this right here. I can just go ahead and do this from here. Or I can decide to just collapse. Let me have it open, collapse it. Okay. All I have to do is to stretch it down. Make sure you have it selected and just stretch it down. So we can move this and have it for the order date. All right, nicely done, but we are not really, finished from here. So this date cannot really work right now until we do some little changes on it. So, but we have to go back to this particular part where we can take a look at how the date will look once we drag in the date right here, right now, what is going to happen and what do we need to have that fixed. Okay, let us go to the calendar table. We just some kind of use Power Query to create. I'm going to drag, I'm going to have to come right here. Let us use table instead. I'm going to use table and I'm going to bring in my month. So we have the month. Even before we drag anything right on the month, it's not actually giving us what we want. I'm going to have to get this off. Let us go to the dimensional, okay, the fact table. The fact table and bring any measure right into it. I just want to use something like, okay, let us use unit costs. Now it's going to aggregate that for us. So now if you look at it, it doesn't start from January, it's starting from April, and something is wrong with this. So how do we get this solved? If you have been following my videos, you must have known how to do this. Go to home, and from home click on this particular module or data visual view. I'm gonna have to open this place up for you to see what you're doing. First of all, we have to make sure we select the calendar table, and this is what we have. So right now we have this month right here. Make sure you have it selected. Once you have selected a month, come to this particular sort by right here, and now we can now sort it by the month number, which is this month number right here. Once that is done, period, we can go back and take a look at what we have. So let's go back here. Now we have it from January down to December right now, which means it has already fixed that for us. So let's just get back. Now we need to do the same thing to the week date right here. Have it selected and by week number. That is all you have to do. So once we are done, because we have some kind of utilized those columns that are actually numbers right now, we can decide to actually click on it and have it hidden. By clicking on this eye right now, it's going to actually gray it out and hide it away when we get to the visualization area. So do the same thing to this one. Click on the eye and actually cross it. So that is exactly what you need to do. So we are not done yet. Let's see what is next. Next thing is for we to some kind of change the format of this date to something different that is going to look very cool. So I might want to use something like this, like okay, should we use month, day, and year? Okay, let's go with this. Okay, beautiful. We have something like this. And the next thing is for we to some kind of mark this as a date table. So click on this particular table tools, right? Previously we clicked on home, and we make use, when we click on this, we make use of home. Yeah, click on this. We actually try as much as we could to some kind of sort this, which was already done for us by clicking on column tools, right? We did that, and this time around we are trying to actually go ahead and do the do this by marking the table. So once we actually click either of the columns, click on this part right here, and what you're going to have is once you have this open, you can just say mark as a date table. So that is going to actually override the inbuilt date table inside Power BI for us. So now we can click on this part right here, go to date, and that validation is successful. So we can now click on OK. So our date table is ready to be used, to be utilized in a full format without we having to think of otherwise. So if I now go back right now, I'm going to have to go open my date table. So as you can see, we don't have month number and week number right here. They had been hidden. Beautiful. So we can start to get whatever we want to create right here created. So let's get it. Our next starting point before we start to create this particular dynamic dashboard is for we to some kind of create this template that is going to some kind of house all the measures and the dimension we have inside our data. So how do we do that? So we have to quickly go ahead and open our PowerPoint. Just click on it if you have it already on your PC. So, and let us go straight up to do that. So it's going to take a little while. Let's give it some time. All right, here are our previous templates with some kind of created right here in PowerPoint. But right now, this is what we're going to create, something just like this. And we have to make sure because we have a dark background, so we want to make sure we put a text that is going to pop out from the dark background and make it some kind of well readable. Okay, in order to get started, I'm going to Ctrl N, and that will help us to some kind of have this inserted. And quickly, all I love to do is just make sure I get this one off. So leave it the way it is. Don't touch the height and the down and the width. So we need to change the inner color to black. So we can right click from there and go to what? I'll go to format background, and I'm going to move this right here, and I'm going to have to open this place up and go to more colors, and from there I'm going to go to custom. So we can decide to change the RGB. Like if I go with 30, I'm going to go with 28, I'm going to go with 40. So this is the kind of color I'm going to have. It's not actually pure black, but it looks just like black. I don't know what I could call this color though, but this is the color you would have. So if I click on OK right now, can you see how the color looks like? This is what it is that we should do for the first time. And next is where we do some kind of okay, we have this, we have it acknowledged. So we're gonna have to need to bring in shapes right into this part right here. Okay, our first shape is gonna be this particular, our rectangle, which is rounded corner. So which I'm gonna drag right here and some kind of make it a little bit curvy. So just adjust this part and make it some kind of this way. I'm gonna have to drag it this way and have it right here. So once we've gotten it right here, right click and go ahead and change the color to the color you want to use. So make sure you go to format shape, and quickly we have to choose this. This is the color I want to use. And once we've gotten this color, I'm going to duplicate it. But before then, I'm going to have to make sure I have what I'm looking for the same, and come right to the line area. Go ahead and turn off the line, and now we can now duplicate it and change the color for it. So the color I want to have used on this one right now is my white color here, and we just have to make sure we move it up and we just size it a bit. Just resize it. You can just have something like this. You can go ahead and duplicate this, and now you can stretch it down. I'm gonna have to bring it this way. So in the rounded corner should just not be like this. Okay, let's just go this way. So we can reduce it from here for the first time. Once we've done that, we can now go ahead and let me take this off. Go ahead and make it the way you want it. So here we're gonna have to put this right here. I'm gonna stretch it down. Very important. Can make it a little bit smaller. So I will need to change the color. So just make sure you touch it a little bit. So bring it down a bit. So we have to right click and go to where we have the format shape. And this time around, we're going to pick different color, like this color we have right here, and make sure you have no line for it. So I can just go ahead and duplicate it and have it for the next one. So all I have to do right now is just to resize this, and I'm going to have it right here. So we can just reduce the curveness a bit. I'm going to drag it this way. So I will need to drag it a bit. And once I'm done and I'm satisfied with what I have, I can leave it. I'm going to duplicate this one and I'm going to make it smaller, drag it down and have it just like this. So make it more smaller than this again. So I will have it to be on this part right here. So we want to change this one to different color and we just want to make sure it aligns properly with this. Can just make it curvy a little bit. So right click on it and go ahead and change the color and we go with this. That is better. So always remember that we have to sketch this on a paper before we start doing this. We can't just bring this from our head. So make sure you do the sketching on the paper and put the paper down and start looking at what you have as a sketch and start going through it, right? So once we are done, we just have to duplicate this and I'm gonna move it down. So I'm gonna have to resize this and the curveness is not gonna be as much as this. Maybe I'm gonna have something like this. I'm gonna have this one right here. So right now I have to reduce this a little bit so I can have this a little bit closer to it. So we need 3 of it. Make it a little bit smaller. So if I duplicate it right now, I'm gonna have this right here and the third one is gonna be here. So you just make sure you some kind of hold your control to select everything and go to the top and go to align and just align them top, and you have to distribute horizontally and distribute vertically as well. So you have equal spacing for all of them. So which is really cool. I think I love it the way it is right now. So the next thing is for you to change the colors. We're going to be using a different color on this one just to make sure it pops out. We just want to go right here and select more colors. And I'm going to go to my custom and right on this particular hex code, this is where I want to have the code pasted right in. As you can see, if I step in here right now, if you don't have the hex code, depends on the version of the PowerPoint you're using, you can decide to plug in those numbers inside the RGB like the red, green, and blue. And that is all you have to do, and click on OK. Click on OK. So that is what it is. So now as you can see, it's a different color entirely from what we have in the background. So I'm going to go right here and just pick this and have it for this and have it for this as well. So beautiful, we have this created. So for you to get this particular format painter off, click on the escape key on your keyboard and that's going to take it away. So I'm going to have to just duplicate this right now. I have to use a different, color for this particular part right here. Let us go with something just like this. I'm going to make it smaller. So this is where we want to have our icons right on. I'm going to have to make sure I have it sit right here and all that. To double it. So use a color that kind of matches what you're doing. Don't just invent a new color just because you want to have colors inside your work and all of that. So once we've gotten this ready, I'm going to have to cut this away for now. I just want to go Ctrl D. So now we have those 2 cards we have right here. This is the time to create them. I'm going to have to divide this part. I'm going to drag this down. So we have 1 card. And if I double this, I'm going to have the next card right here. So remember, I have something I'm watching. You don't have to just do this just, because I'm doing it. So you need to actually sketch your work before now, which is what I've said. I'm just going to bring this up right here. Just move this to resize on this part. That is nice. So the next one again is for you to just double this and take it to the top level right to this part. I'm moving it to the top just like this, and they have to some kind of extend it down. So we just have to make sure we get it to this where, and we need to have a nice spacing for it. So just move it a little bit. So once we are done with that, we can duplicate it, Ctrl D, then we have to bring it back in. And we can set it right here. So can you see what I've done? That is nice. So we're not done yet. Ctrl D again. I'm going to take it up. So we just have to make sure this one is not going to be this color. So right click and format the shape. Go here and choose the same color we had been using before. Now I can take it off and just make sure I do this manually. Gonna have this right here. So we just have to move this down and have it for this. Okay, before we decide to say we are cool with what we've done, let us go ahead and take a look at what we have created previously before now, if it looks just like this and all of that. So going back again, here we go. I'm going to navigate through. This is the first one, is this. Okay, what we did not get well now to me is the color that we have right here. We have to change this color to match a lot. So if you want to do that, we can just go ahead and take a look at what is the color code for it to get the exact color code for it. So I'm going to copy this color code from here. You can actually type in the same thing and you're going to have the same, thing I have. So come right here, and now we just have to go to this, right click. So we need to go ahead and change it, more colors, and now we have to paste in the color code right in here. And now you can type in those 141, 30, 41, 43, and 70. I'm going to click on OK, and now you just have to give it the same formatting. This is what it is. So the next thing is for you to make sure we crank it up a little bit. I'm just going to select 3 of them. I just want to make sure it's bigger than what we have right now, and I just want to move it up a bit. So once you are done with that, for you to some kind of slip inside it, so I'm just going to go down to this particular part, go to shadow, and from shadow I want to pick this up, and I'm going to come right here and have this right for it. So that will make it some kind of standard from the background. Can you see how it pops out? And this is beautiful. So now this is how to create your template in PowerPoint, and we've just done the justification, right? Okay, the next thing we've not done right now is very simple and easy, which I believe anyone can do, is to add text from PowerPoint. So you can decide to go ahead and add this particular text in Power BI. It's all your choice. So now this is not necessarily going to be on this particular part. So here we go. Can you see it right now? So I can decide to make sure I just extend it down a little bit. So this is what we have. So if I navigate through both of them right now, can you tell which one is huge? Which one is huge now? Can you see? We have the replicate of this same one we've seen previously before now. So all I need to say, or all I need to tell you right now when it comes to creating custom visual or custom template for your Power BI report or Power BI dashboard is for you to sketch what you need. Like, you have to know what KPIs you want to show and how you want to have them arranged. After you might have known all this, so get a sheet of paper and start sketching with your pencil. So once you're done with the sketching, the rough sketching on paper, put it down on your table and get your computer up and actually launch your PowerPoint and start to get those shapes and create what you have exactly on your paper. That is how you can get it right. You don't bring it up from your head. All I've done, I was watching the paper to do this because already I have it some kind of drafted on the paper. So let's keep going. All right, now that we are done creating the template, so it is time for we to export this out and actually import it into Power BI. So go to the top ribbon, click on File, and from there you have to go to where we have this particular, export right here. And quickly you can see where we have change file type. So if we just click on change file type, what we have is this particular file type we have right here. So we have JPEG, PNG. So you might want to choose either of this. It's cool. None of those are bad. But I love to use like GIF to have it some kind of exported. Double click on this particular save as another file type right here. And it's going to open this up for you. Beautiful. So now I can just go right here and choose save as GIF if that is what you want. So you can just name whatever it is that you want to give to it and click on save. Just because I've saved this before, I'm not going to do that again. I just want to show you how to have it done in case you are a newbie onto this particular channel. Okay, now here we go. We just have to go back. We're going to hit this right now. So here is the new one we are some kind of creating. I want to go down to this particular formatting report page. In case we are having different interface, it might be the version you're using when it comes to Power BI. So I'm going to go to canvas background. I want to have it open. I'm going to click right here. And quickly, I want to go ahead and pick it up. So here we have all the templates we've created previously before now. And this is time range. Double click on it. Already, I have it right here. But it can't show up because we have it on 100% transparency. So I just want to put it on 0. There you go. We have it. This is beautiful. If you remember when we actually set up our date, we have this right here, and we don't need it. We can just go ahead and take it off. For that, now we're going to have this one. So telling us build visual with your data. So we've just gotten everything we want. So let me show you one more thing. Go back right here. You're going to see this particular image fit. So you can click on it and use the fit you can see how it's kind of, open up a little bit like this. We'll fill it. So either of it is cool, depends on how your template looks like. So this is the first thing we need to do. And next we have to start to, get the writing done. All right. In order to get started properly, we have to write the docs that will help us to kind of create this beautiful dashboard right now. So I want to start up from product best-selling days right here. And as you can see, we have those products right here, and we have the days that they are very much, pulling out. So if I select like Wednesday right now, or it's a filter, I just use the, visual filter right away. And what the visual filter is going to do is to kind of help me filter through all my dashboards. So all I'm seeing right now is the products like this. All these products we have right now, their best selling day is on Wednesday. And if I go to like on Saturday, it's going to change the product that sell much on Saturday for me. And that is exactly what I want you to understand. That's how the filter works. So I just want to show you that. But how do we really get to know the product we have in our store, the best selling days for such a product? So that is one thing you have to like keep asking yourself, like, how do we do that? So let us use that. Let us determine that with, DAX. So let's go ahead and get it done. Okay, to get started, you will need the calendar. Let me just go to now the view of our data. I'm going to click on the calendar. We have some kind of connected previously before now. Sorry for that. Okay, now you need the column that is actually going to be this column right here, which specify your weekday for you from Monday to Saturday, right? So you need that particular weekday column. So if you don't have the weekday column, there is no way it's going to work. So now that we've actually we are really sure that we have it right now, let's get back right here. And what I used to do is, I told you we have what we call supporting column, which we had in the previous one. Let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. So the supporting column helps you to some kind of organize your measures so that when you need to actually edit anyone, you will know where to go without thinking of like, where the heck is it? So now, all those ones I have right here right now, they have no connection with my other tables. So they're just supporting columns. So that is what we are going to create right away. Go back right here. And quickly, let's get back. Now to create that supporting column, so all we have to do is to click on this particular enter date right here. We just have to trick it to help us do that. And all we have to do is to keep any measure that we need inside it. So now come right to this particular table aspect and just say best selling days. So here we go. Don't touch anything right here. Just click on load straight. So we have to load it straight up to the Power BI. We don't have to do any editing in Power Query. Okay, here we go. We have it right now. So inside here, we have to start to write the measure that we need to do the best selling day with. So I'm going to actually insert new measure. So inside this new measure, what we need, let me just make sure you see it so well. So what we need to calculate is the average sales per day. That is the first thing we have to go with right now. Average sales per day. It's gonna be average. Like, okay, we're gonna need to use the average X, and inside the average X, we're gonna say value to pull in the calendar table right in. So we're gonna type in values. So values function. And now we need to get the calendar date right here. So calendar, and that is going to be the date column. So here is the date column, right? So we're going to close this and say comma. Sorry for that. Yeah, it's comma. Okay, the error is actually on this particular part right here. We ought to use average X, but we just use average. So it's going to throw out an error. So we have to fix that. So we just need to go ahead and remove it. And average, and here we have the average X right in here. So go ahead and choose that, and quickly we have to come right here. So now we ought to have used the total revenue, but now we don't have it. What are we gonna do? I think we have to actually sum the total revenue before we do this. So how do we go ahead and do that? So what I'm gonna do right now is to some kind of copy everything I have right here down, go ahead and calculate total revenue and come and add it up. Will that really make sense? Because if I want to mix it up right now, it's going to confuse a lot of us. Else, if I was some kind of working alone, I would have actually started to actually add it up right here, and it will be very okay. For we to understand what we are doing, I'm going to have to cut this one away from here, and now I'm going to say cut. So we have to quickly go ahead and calculate the total revenue for the first time. Although the total revenue is what we've created in our other videos before now, but I'm still going to help you to do that in case you've forgotten how we did it. So, but for the first time, what you need to understand is when you come right here, I want to go to my fact table. I want to make you understand something before we start to create this. So I'm going to scroll to my right hand side right here, and here we go, we have it. So now we have quantity order, and then we have, discount, and we have unit price and the cost price. So now having them on the same table will make it very easy for we to compute. So otherwise we might actually have, the product to carry its, total price on a different table, which we're gonna have to use related table. In this particular aspect, we don't have to do that, but we're going to do something similar to just that right here. Okay, let's see how we can do that. I want to go back right here, and right now we have first measure. So it's on that table, just like the way we entered this one right here, just for we to keep our measure that we have not branched out from organized right in. So I want to actually go and say new measure. Okay, from the new measure, we want to calculate the total revenue, and it's very simple. So what we have to do is to use the sum x. So it's going to be the sum x right here. You really need to pay attention to what the sum x is looking for. So it's looking for the table. That is the table where what we want to sum is sitting. That is our fact table, right? That is our fact table. So we have the fact table right here. I'm going to see comma. So we have to bring in the expression. That is the column that we need to actually sum with. And that is going to be the unit price. So if I type in the unit right now, you can see we have our unit price right here. And quickly we have to multiply our unit price by the what? Unit price by the quantity. So we're going to do this multiplication right here. And I'm going to see quantity. So we need to see it. Okay, now we have other quantity right here. That has been done. So I told you we have a discount given to every single customer that comes into our, either factory or company or our store to make purchases. So what is that discount? How do we take off the discount from it? So I'm gonna do under multiplication again, and this time around I want to say open bracket 1 minus the discount column. That is all you have to do. So I'm going to type in discount, and I will definitely see discount column right here. Here we go. This is the discount column. So we are just done with this. So that is we have to close this sum x as well. So we hit our enter key. After this, what we need to do next is for we to some kind of like format it rightly. It depends on the country where you are or who is actually gonna be using this. I'm gonna use dollar number formatting for it. You can use Naira, Ghana cedis, you can use any number formatting you really like on it. So this is what it is that we need to do. So after we have done with this, the next thing right now is to go ahead and calculate our best selling days. That is very simple. Okay, now we have to insert a new measure. You might want to go to home and quickly you see new measure right here. That is another way to have it inserted. Okay, don't forget I told you we're going to have to copy that other one we have used previously before now, which is this one. We can have it pasted, or if you feel like we should write it from the scratch again, we can do that. But I'm just going to copy this away from here. Sorry, I have to cancel it. Just want to copy this away from here. To copy. So we have to come right here and have it pasted. And now we used average X. So don't forget we used average X and we used value. So bring the calendar table right in, and the calendar for the date. I'm gonna have to close it, and my comma right now, don't forget what we've just kind of calculated right now, which is the total revenue right here. So we don't necessarily need to have the the table name. This is the virtual table name we've just created previously to organize our measures, so we can remove it. So we don't need it to have effect on that. I can go ahead and close it, the average X, and hit more enter, So we've just done that justification for we to just create our average, daily revenue. Okay, what we can do right now is to have it formatted as well. Just go ahead and format it. And in case we don't want to have extra decimal right on it, what we can do is to have this on 0, not on auto. We can do that to our total revenue as well, just to make sure we have it done, not to have any errors when we place this on a chart or on any visuals. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to compute the main measure that helps us to calculate the best selling days. So I'm gonna have to insert a new measure to get this done quickly. Okay, here comes the new measure. So I'm gonna type in here best selling days. So I'm gonna say equal to, shift and enter to go into a new line, and to indent it you can click the top key. It's gonna help you move that away. So now I'm gonna use max X right here. Can you see that right now? So I'm gonna use my max S. So the max S is looking for table, but right now I'm gonna provide it with the top. So the top N, and we're gonna say we are looking for the top one. You understand? In all date, when it scans through all date for a single product, we want to see the top selling day, not to give us any of the week that it feels like. So we want to see the top selling one. I'm gonna have to go with my shift key again, indent it for we to keep this organized and for we to understand it better what is going on. So I'm gonna use this summarize. So here is my summarize right here. So the summarize is looking for a table, and now we're gonna provide the summarize with the calendar table. So I'm gonna say calendar. So we have the calendar, just the table that house or calendar right here. And inside the calendar, we have a column named, I think it was been named weekday. So I'm going to type in my, comma, weekday. We should have it. So right now we have the column that is named weekday right here. That is all about it. So under comma, and let us indent it again. So now we need to create, a table inside like, should I call it a virtual table? Best selling days. Let's do that. Best selling days. So now we close it. So inside here, I want to store the average, the average daily revenue. So comma. So it's gonna be average, and we get it. This is where it is right now. I told you this is some kind of optional. We don't really need to have this one right here. We can just go ahead and remove it. All we need right now is this particular, average right here, and that is all we need. Then we have to just close this again. Then after we have done with that, I'm gonna have my comma right here, shift enter. I'm gonna indent it again, and I'm gonna return back this particular best selling days or have right here. You can either copy it, but if you're really sure, just go and type in best, and you're gonna see it. So it's right here as well. So you can bring it up right in. And I'm gonna have to close and say my comma. Just please pay attention to what is going on right here. That is how you can understand it better. And the expression right now is the calendar weekdays. So just type in your week. When you type in your week, you're gonna see the weekdays of the calendar right here. And quickly I'm gonna have it closed as well. I think the top and the max is being closed, so we can go ahead and hit our enter key. This is all we have to do. So when you pay attention to the intelligence, it's going to tell you what you need when you actually use any of the of the functions. So now we are done. We're just done. So it is time for we to visualize this and to see what it is that we've done if we are really right with it. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a table right now. So inside this table, I'm going to bring it all the way down. So let's just have it opened up right. And I'm going to I'm going to scroll down. And now we have to bring it down product right here. So we have the product table. You can go ahead and open it up, and the product name, we're going to have it right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and close it. And now I'm going to bring average daily sales. I want to bring my best selling days right here. So now those are the best selling days for every single product we have right in here. Can you see that right now? So the next thing to do is for you to some kind of format this rightly and make sure you take off the grand total. We don't really need it to be right on it. So you can quickly open this place up and start doing the formatting immediately. So what I'm going to do right now is this. So we come to visual and you open this place up. You just have to leave it at default and coming right here on this particular grid. So we just have to make sure we put this on a different color. So I'm going to have to specify my color right here. So I have to specify my color. So this is the color I've used. Can you see it right now? That is for the grid. So it's 242436 using the hashtag. Okay, now that we've done this, I want to have to make sure it's going to be on 10. Can you see what it is right now? Don't be panic. You'll be like, what the heck is going on? So we're going to actually make sure we have this done rightly. So once we're done from here, you can go ahead and close it. It depends on the color of your dashboard. I'm trying to match this particular color you're seeing on the grid or to this particular color we have right here. So now we have to go to the value area. So on the value area, when you have it opened up, so we want to change the whole thing right here. I'm going to go with 11. So instead of me having 10, I'm going to go with 11. So I want to come right here and change the text to white. I'm going to go with this. So we want to come right here and the alternative one as well. I want to make it the same. Okay, I'm going to go with the pure white right here. Okay, quickly right now, it is time for we to turn off the grand total. So we have to locate where it is and have it turned off. That is beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to come right here and go ahead and turn off this particular effect we have right on it. So I'm going to turn off the background. Can you see the background being turned off right now? So to do away with the white backgrounds we have right now, what we can do is just to have this particular effect being closed. And I want to go, okay, let's go right here. I want to go to the value area. And now we have, background for those values. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the same thing. Then this should be it. Here we go. I'm going to choose this and go for the alternative background as well. I'm going to choose the same color for it. And that will give me this. So I can go ahead and have it opened up. I'm going to remove the scroll from the down one right here. Okay. Now that we've gotten this, the next thing to do is just to go to where we have, let's scroll up a little bit. Okay. What if I make it bold? That is going to be beautiful. So now we have to deal with the header. So the header is something next. We just have to make the header to be bold as well. And for the header, I want to change the background color for the header. I'm going to use something like black. And I want to change the text of the header to something like this. Can you see what I've done? So this is what it is. So we're not really satisfied with what we have right now. I'm going to do something. Just go back right here. I just want to do away with that scroll. Okay. That is not what we need to do. Just have to open it up a bit. So we can take it down to fill it downward. Just open it up. Now this is what it is. So we've some kind of selected it, so we have to select it. So right now on this particular part right here, I want to actually have some kind of data bars right in it. So I want to go to my average daily sales. I want to go right here to the conditional formatting and quickly the data bars. Here we go. So we have to select the code that's going to some kind of fit our dashboard. That is exactly what you need to do. So once it comes up right now, we're going to do that. So here we go. This is the positive area. We just want to go ahead and some kind of select this color for it. I'm going to click on OK. Let's see what we have. Okay, nicely we have this. So if we want to make it some kind of under adjustment right now, what we can do is to click back on it again and go to conditional formatting and go to data bars, right? And let's just make an adjustment. And I want to make it some kind of a little bit darker for me to see that, okay, the number is kind of popping out the way it is. So we have to use something a little bit darker than that. Let's see how that goes. Can you see what I have right now? This is what it is. So now we've just gotten this calculated. So in case you don't know how to calculate the best selling days right now, among all your products or among all your customers, the days they always come to the factory or to the store to buy things, you can use the same logic we've used. And even among location, the best selling days for a particular location. Right now, we did it on a product. So you can drag in location, region, and all of that right here to have the same thing we have right now. So how about this? So it is time for you to get more deeper into what you're doing than what we have just done right now. So what is left for us now is to have some headers right on top of it, which is very, very compulsory. So to do that right now, all we have to do is to go to where we have our text box right in. And inside the text box, as we've just picked it from here right now, we just have to type in whatever we want to type in, just like the total average, sales per day. So for we to have this formatted, we need to actually Ctrl A to highlight everything we have inside it. And I can quickly come right here and make sure it pops out. Let me put it on 12. I think 12 will be cool for me. Okay, now that we have it on 12, we can make it bold, and we can change the color to something like this, and that is okay. So we can just kind of take it this way, and we can take it and have it inside the middle, and quickly go to this particular part and turn off the background we have for it. So now I'm gonna have to move it and have it right here. So for the total average selling days, what we can do is just to go and bring it up right in here. So here we go. And now I have to make sure it's on card. And that is exactly what it is. So we just have to quickly format this and go to general. And now we have to quickly go ahead and take off the background as well. And go to the visual area, turn off the label, and go to this path. And we just have to change the color to fit what we want. That is beautiful. So we just have to change this to, like, let us use 30. So I'm gonna use 25. I don't want to be some kind of big. 23 is cool. Okay. So we can just minimize it and push it right to this particular part right here. So this is what we have. So we have one more to go. So what we have to do right now is to some kind of like double this. So we just have to click on it and Ctrl C and Ctrl V to have it paste. Okay, now we have to drag this one down right here. Then we have to extend it all the way to this particular part. That is beautiful. So inside it, I'm going to Ctrl A and delete whatever we have inside it. So now we have something else right in. So we just have to Ctrl A to reveal what it is that we have. And this time around, I want to give it 14. Let's see what 14 is going to do. Okay, this is 14 and I'm going to have it bold. Or something like this. What if I just make it this way? And we have to give it a color that is going to pop out a lot. So now this specifies what this table is all about. So whoever comes to a table right now will definitely know that, okay, average daily selling, average selling per day is actually this particular value right here. And product best selling days by average revenue is what this table stands for. You have to always try as much as you could to make anything charts, any visual at all, very descriptive to actually suggest what it is, instead of you leaving the end user into guessing of like, what the heck is this all about? This is what you have to do. So now we've just done. All right, before we start getting more deep inside this analysis, I want to show you something. If you look at this particular part right here, I told you it powers this particular visual and it powers this visual and this visual as well, and this. Okay, how did we do it for one single measure, to be powering all this? So this is what we've done. We've actually calculated the cost of goods sold, the gross profit, the revenue, the quantity ordered, and the total transaction. And we see every single time we click on either of them right here, we want those particular, visuals to be updated. That is exactly what we have done, and not just updated. So if they got updated, we want to see revenue is what is currently selected, and we want to see revenue right here. We want to see revenue right here, and we want to see revenue right here. For you to understand what I'm talking about, I'm going to go forward for transaction right now. Let's see what I'm going to have to select right now. So I just got transaction selected right now. Let's see the reaction once this is done. So now transaction is what is currently selected. So we have transaction, 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 which means everything we have right here can be read based on the transaction we have selected. So if you have not done this before, you might be very much interested to know how we could have this done. And it's very simple and easy. Let's go ahead and have it done. In order to achieve the next step quickly, we need to actually have more calculations, and that calculation is going to come right here because this is the first time we are doing that. So we're not actually branching out from the previous measures, right? So now for you to understand what I'm talking about, I'm going to go back right here. I want to click on my fact table right here, and I want to scroll down to this part. Okay, we have the unit price and we have the unit cost. So you have to know the difference between the unit price and the unit cost. Unit cost is always lower than the unit price. That is the cost of the goods we are selling in our company or in our factory or in our store. The cost in which we use to buy that particular product inside our store, and now we have to sell it at this particular price for it to make profit. So now that you've known what this is all about, let's go ahead and make the calculation. So we just have to come right here. I've selected this particular place, and right now right click on it and go for new measure. All right, here we go. I'm going to say cost of goods sold, COGS. So now it's going to be equal to, isn't this sum X again? So what is the sum X looking for is table. That is my fact table where we have the columns we're going to be using to some kind of have this calculation done. So now I'm going to say comma. So we have to use the unit cost, not the unit price right now. So I'm going to type in cost right here, and quickly it's going to give me that particular column that actually specify the unit cost. So we want to some kind of multiply this by the quantity ordered. So just have to type in the quantity, and here we have the ordered quantity right here. And this time around, we don't have to subtract any discount from it. It's just OK like this. I'm going to click on OK. That is hitting your enter key, or you can actually come and check it right here. So once you're done, the next thing you have to do is to some kind of format it rightly the way it should be. And quickly for we to just do away with if we have extra decimal out of it. So we just have to put that auto on 0. So we've done this. We have to calculate our profit. Now the profit is actually taking the total revenue from cost of goods sold. That will give us our profit. Okay, right here I'm going to say gross profit. So it's going to be equal to, the measures I've created is in this particular, our square bracket will always give you the measures without having to, join other tables on it. So I'm just going to go with my, total revenue. So I'm going to subtract it from my cost of goods sold. Here we go. So we have the gross profit, and quickly just go ahead and do the number formatting. So here we go. To turn the auto into 0, that is just a precaution in case we have extra decimal, because we don't want to have it. So we're done with this right now. The next thing is for we to calculate our total quantity purchased. So we have to have it as a measure for we to actually be able to do what we really want to do in terms of calculation and visualization. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this particular new measure. And now for we to calculate our transaction now, or to get to know how many transactions we've had over time, what we have to do is to some kind of use the control to count how many rows we have inside our fact table. I'm going to type in here transaction. So count rows. And inside the count rows right now, we need a table, and it's going to be our fact table. That is all about it. So we just have to close it and hit our enter key. And this time around, the number formatting should be comma, not, our usual number formatting like this one. So we're going to use the comma separator for it if it's up to thousands or even millions, right? Okay, beautiful. That is all we have for now. So we've not calculated for the quantity. We just have to actually add that up. So for we to be on the same page, you have to follow me step by step to do the same thing I'm doing. Okay. Quantity ordered. So it's going to be sum of the quantity. That is all. So here we go. Close it and hit your enter key. And it's not actually a value that we have to use $sign for. So we want to use the comma separator for it. Okay, already we've just gotten our gross profits, quantity order, total revenue, and transactions. So let us go to the previous one and see what are those things we have right here. So we have the same thing okay, now we have the same thing, exactly the same thing. So now we are ready and we are good to go. All right, let us populate these particular cards we have right here. Don't tell me you don't know how I did this. The same thing I've done right here is what I've done. All I just did is to make sure the text pops out very well, and I change the color to match my background and not to be some kind of too much, right? Okay, the next thing we're going to do right now is to actually add some images. That is going to be very important. So you have it on the file you have downloaded, and I've shown you this website on the previous videos on how you can actually get so many icons that will definitely transform your dashboard to the next level. So quickly go to insert, and from insert you can actually go to image, and here we go. So we don't have it right here, so I'm just going to go to resources perk, and I want to go to static image. So don't forget that we have this GIF right here, which is animated images. So we just want to go to static images right here, and now for the order I might want to use either of these perch right here. Okay, let us go for the order. I want to go ahead and use this. I have it opened, and it's going to be right here. So now I'm going to push it down. Want to make it smaller. I'm going to set it right here, and we just have to take for the gross revenue. So go for the image. So from either of these, I can go with this. Total cost of goods sold. I can just, there are so many images right there that you can take that will some kind of resonate with what you want. So don't just pick any image just because they're just icons for you to be used. So just make sure you are very careful when choosing your icons or your images. So I can bring this right here that represent, some kind of trend. So we just have to make sure we bring it up down to this level. So here we go. We are done with this. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is for me to just some kind of duplicate this, because I hate doing what I can some kind of duplicate over and over again. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna have it opened up. So I'm gonna copy the same thing. Just have to move this right here. So we pick this one again. I'm gonna have it right here. So nicely. Okay, for the gross profit, we already have it calculated. I'm going to have to move this one away, and I'm going to take this as my gross profit. Already we have it. So for the gross revenue and my total revenue, we're going to come to that particular part, total revenue. And next, but this is it right here. Okay, fine. That is my cost of goods sold. We just have to go with the cost of goods sold. Okay, we are ready to take this to the next level, aren't we? We are ready. On the next step, we are going to go to the table view right here, and we need to actually insert a new table, which is this particular new table right here. Not column, not quick measure, and not measure this time around, but new table. Okay, nicely. Now that we have this new table right here, let's see what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have to make sure I zoom to see. Okay, better. So I'm just gonna type in change measures right here. So now change measures. That was how I just got to some kind of, change from one measure to the other. I'm gonna have my equal to right here. The shift key, enter, will help you to get into the second line. Okay, what I'm gonna do right now, do we call this curly brace? Yeah, I think so. So just go to the middle. Once your cursor is blinking, hold your shift key and enter and open it up. So we have to come to the third line, and inside the third line, so you have to go accordingly. All those measures we've some kind of created in the past, like the quantity sold, total revenue, gross profit, transaction, and total orders, will now come inside here. And open this particular double quotation. I want to type in my order. Ordered QT, ordered quantity. And for it to go into the next line, I'm going to have my comment right in, then shift enter the fourth line, and this here is going to be my transaction. Capital letter for the first one. Transaction under comma, shift enter. Now here right now, I am going to go with gross profit, revenue, and cost of goods sold. So I have to put the $sign in bracket to show how I want to have it formatted, because I wouldn't have to format it, I'm just going to remove the formatting I have for it previously, because that will kind of distort the way it is, so that when we actually, try to select this particular transaction, it wouldn't have that particular number formatting. It's going to kind of distort it for us. So don't worry, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it and you will now understand what I'm talking about. So now it's double quotation, open bracket. On your keyboard, you have this $sign, close this right here, and give a space, gross profit. So gross profit, can close it. Your comma again, shift, enter. And now we have to do that to revenue. Do the same thing, close bracket, this, close this, and we just have to say total revenue. That is it. So we close it, and the last time, comma, shift, enter, then open bracket, dollar, then close it, shift key, and now here is going to be my cost of goods sold, COGS, and I'm going to have it closed. So this time around, we're not going to need any comma again, because we are done with this. That is all you have to do. I'm going to go ahead and hit my enter key. Okay, make sure as you're doing this, you save, because at the time the machine can decide to just shut down, so you're going to lose every single thing you've done. So I'm going to Ctrl S to have it saved. Is very, very important. So I'm going to have to close this up. This is all we have just entered inside here. Revenue. Okay, nicely, we have it. So if we come to this particular part right now, I'm going to have to go with this particular slicer. Inside slicer, I want to go to my, change measure. I'm going to select it. So here we have all of them right here. So nothing happens right now. We just have it as a table. So it's not some kind of reflecting in this particular whole visuals we have right here. So how can we make it to work and to give us what we want? So what is the next step? So what we want right now is that every single time we make any selection right here, so we want to see on the card what we have selected. What do you suggest that we can do? Okay, somebody just thought it rightly. Okay, what we can do right now, I just want to have those measures inside this particular change measures right here. And quickly, I'm going to go ahead and click a new measure. Now it's not a table, but new measure we have to insert. So just give it some time. Yes, inside this new measure, we want to some kind of selected measure info. So we want to see every single measure we clicked on. So we want to see what it is that we have selected. So I'm going to just use this particular function called selected value. Can you see it right here? Selected value. And what selected value is looking for is the column we are going to select something from. Let me type in value, and here we go. We have change measure, and inside that change measure, we have a column named value. Here is our table name, and here is the column. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and close this and hit my enter key, and that is done for us. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to make sure we bring a card and pull it inside the card we have. Okay, I think I just flopped. I want to go ahead and go with this. So I'll step off from it and bring up a card. And now let us go with selected measure. So now it's giving us blank. Let us see the reason why we are having blanks right here. So if I go ahead and some kind of check this one right now. So it gives me transaction. If I check this, it gives me order. If I check this, it gives me revenue. If I check this, it gives me gross profit. And if I check this, it gives me cost of goods sold. And if I some kind of play it, what am I going to have? I'm having blank. So we have to make sure we don't have blank. What can we do? That is where the next step comes in. So we are going to create two measure for this, but the first one is going to have to display on our chart, and the next one is going to have to display on this particular part right here. Let's go through the first one. I'm going to some kind of click on this one, and I'm going to go right here. and I want to copy this whole of it. So I'm going to copy, Ctrl C to copy it, and I'm going to have to insert a new measure. I have to give it a descriptive name that will definitely make sure I know what I'm going to pick when the time comes for me to have this on my chart. Yeah, it's working on it. Just give it some time. Okay, I'm gonna paste what I've just got copied, and from here I want to take this off, and I'm gonna say chart selection for chart selection. Okay, let me just use chart selection. It can be descriptive like that, you know. Chart selection, wherever. Okay, now what I'm gonna do right now is this. So once we some kind of like we said selected value is actually change measure, that is what it is that we have selected. I'm gonna put my comma right here, and now it's gonna ask me for alternative. What the alternative is all about right now is that what if we have nothing selected, just like what we have right now, nothing has been selected and it's giving us blank. I do not want it to display blank. What I want is something different. I want to say select measure. So we have to put that on double quotation. Select a measure. Select a measure. So not measure, select a measure. I think I get it right. So I have to close this here. I'm gonna hit my enter. Now we should have it correctly. That is not all, so we have to still some kind of configure the next one, which is going to be a little bit complicated than what I have done right now, but that is going to be simple once we have it rightly. Okay, let's give it some time working on it. Okay, now we have just gotten that, so I'm going to have to deselect this one right now, and then I'm going to have this right here. Can you see it? It says select a measure. We are going to need this, but this one, no, you're not gonna need it. So I'm gonna have to some kind of configure this one for something else. So if I go ahead and select something right now, let's see what we're gonna have. So we have what we've just selected, and if I go ahead and select something else, we have it. And if I click it, which means I don't select anything, so my whole chart is gonna look blank, and the information right there for me to not to have the end user to be thinking like, what the heck is going on? Does it mean I've messed it up? It's just like select a measure, and the end user will be like, okay, let me just go to the top level right here and select a particular measure for me to display something on my chart. So let's see how the next configuration is gonna look like. Right, as you can see right here, we have just selected our old measure we've created that gave us blank before we changed this into this particular one right here. You have to pay a very good attention right now for you to understand what is going on, because I don't want to create something that you don't have any idea of, like, how did you create it? Okay, now that we have this one right now, this is what it is. So the name is actually selected measure info, and I already have something right here for you. If we not to waste much of our time to type it out every single time, we said kindly select a single measure from active measure filter to get insight on the charts. That is the info we're gonna have when we have nothing selected, and we've seen it previously before now how it's kind of like made our dashboard with some kind of code. And the next thing again is what is selected is what is currently selected. It might not make any sense right now because we are going to use this one to concatenate what we have selected. So let's get on it. All right, first of all, I'm going to have to copy this, Ctrl C to copy it. I want to come right here and make sure you are still within the change measure table. That is where we're going to have it right in. And I want to go right and insert a new measure. So inside this new measure, I want to have it named info, and I'm going to say it's equal to. So right now, we just have to call this particular, measure right here that is giving us this particular blank. And what we're going to do right now is to use the if condition to do that. I'm going to say if, so this measure we have as a blank, selected, that is the selected measure info, this one right here. If the selected measure info is equal to blank, Can you see it now? If it is equal to blank. So what do you want if that is the case? If it is equal to blank, what do you want as a result? That is what we've just copied from here right now, which is what the text I have right on my notepad. So we just have to go right and paste it in. Very simple, right? So we've just pasted that in. So we just have to go ahead and close it. To look at it, we have some kind of like errors around it. So the reason was because we didn't have some kind of like, have double quotation right here, which is done right now, and we have it rightly. So now let's actually specify if it is blank. I want you to give me this as a prompt message to help me to understand what is going on. Okay, after what I've done, the next thing again is this. So we wanted that, okay, if we have something selected right here, which means it's not going to be blank again. So it's also have shown what we have selected right here, but we just don't want to show like cost of good is being selected or just like gross profit, revenue. We want to actually concatenate something with it. How do we do that? So I'm just going to copy what we have right here, which is from this particular measure part, right? Now we don't have to do that. So what we need to do right now is what we have inside this value is what we have to concatenate with whatever that is being selected. So what we can do, I'm going to put my comma right here, and it's going to tell me if the result is false, which means something is being selected and it's not blank. What do you really want? So right now I have to concatenate, value. So value, that is going to give me my changed value. So I'm going to go for change. And we should have it right here. So we have to do selected value again. So selected value, and here we go. These are selected value. And what it is, we just have to go with the value, which is this one right here. From change measure, we have this value, which is this. So we're trying to bring this particular table or column right inside here right now, which we have just done. So I'm going to have to close it and use my ampersand right here and use that to concatenate the text I want to actually add onto it. So which is this text I have some kind of like, have right here. I'm going to have to copy it, and now we can go ahead and paste it inside of it. So we just have to paste it, Ctrl-V to paste it, and that is all we have to do. Quickly, we could go ahead and close the if condition. And if I go ahead and hit my enter key right now, we should have what we're looking forward to seeing when we pull this inside a card. Okay, now if we are done, let us go ahead and pull it inside the card to see what we have just done and see how that can actually make our dashboard to look very, awesome to read. Okay, now that we are done, so let us pull it inside the card. So we've just created for info. I'm going to bring it on a card. I have to make sure I expand the card before I populate this. I have to make use of this. So now here we go. Can you see this right now? Because we have nothing selected, it says kindly select a single measure from active measures filter to get insight on the chart. So if I go ahead and do this right now, look at it. So can you see this right now? Total revenue is what is currently selected. So I'm gonna say how I go. Okay, I just want to go ahead and remove that particular word from it. So we quickly have to go ahead and click on this, and we have to take this is off it, and I'm gonna hit my okay. Let's see if that goes well. It does. So transaction is what is currently selected, and if I go for quantity order or ordered quantity right now, I should have that display. Can you see the difference right now? So here, when we started this, we actually pull it inside the card, and when we use the selected value, it gives us, when we some kind of deselect this right now, which means we clear the filter, nothing is being selected. What we have is blank, and we don't want to as in leave the end user into like, what the heck is going on? How is this? And it's going to call us back again like, the dashboard you created for me is some kind of mess now, but I don't know what is wrong, so it's not showing any value. So for which to kind of do away with all that, we try as much as we could to say, I'll select a measure. We're going to use this one on the chart, and we're going to use this one to display something right at this particular part right here, which is very, very simple. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the already finished dashboard right now. As you can see, nothing is showing on this chart nothing is showing here, nothing is showing here right now, but it says select merger. And right here it says kindly select a single merger from active mergers, filter to get insight on the chart. So if I go ahead and open this place up right now and make a selection, you're going to see what is going to happen. It's going to populate all our chart for us once we actually have an active merger, some kind of selected, and the whole message with some kind of change. Can you see what just happened right now? This is what I'm trying to do. So now you must have known what it is and what you can do to achieve the same thing we have just achieved right here. So we have done this particular, little ones right here, and we've gotten this, done as well. So what is next is for we to some kind of see how we can populate our charts and write a measure that is going to do that for us. All right, welcome to the fun part. This is the my most favorite part, right? So we just have to still make sure we are some kind of on the change merger table, and now we have to insert a merger. So the function we're going to use right now is called switch function to get this done, because we want to switch between different merger that we've created previously before now, and we've done that together, which I believe you are going to understand once we start this. Okay, I'm going to type here to be my active merger. I'm going to put my equal to right here, shift enter. I'm going to actually indent it. So now we want to play around with those particular mergers by writing those little functions to help us to switch between one after the other. Like anyone we switch is going to be what is going to some kind of display on our chart. So I'm going to actually type in switch. So the switch merger is going to go with the true function. True. That is it. So I'm going to have my comma right here, and now shift enter, indent it using the tab key. And now don't forget the name of the merger we created that has to do with our cost of goods sold, gross profit, total revenue, and stuff like that. So we have to remember all those names accurately before this can work. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to say, okay, what we need to understand now is to know what column we're going to use for this. Is very important. And the column we're going to be needing to get this done is this particular column that is pulling this particular quantity order that we just have selected right now, which is selected merger info. And this is the one on highlight. Can you see it right here? Okay, what we're going to do right now, I'm going to say, using the switch function, I'm going to say selected. Now, can you see it now? Selected merger info. So if it is equal to here, we have to remember every single thing we've done right here. If it is equals to cost of goods sold, so I want you to give me cost of goods sold, using the square brackets. We have to go ahead and select our cost of goods sold right here. Can you see how easy it is right now? I'm going to say comma. That is the first one. That will go shift enter to go into the next line, and that we just have to still use the same selected merger right here. So here we go. Selected merger info. So remember to take this off. We don't really want it. We don't want it. So we can decide some kind of copy this and have it handy. So when we are done, we can actually paste it for it to make things very easy for us. So I'm going to type in my equal to right here. I'm going to have to go like, okay, if this particular one that is going to be selected right now is my, gross revenue. So right here, remember that we have to make use of, on the cost of goods, so we have to make use of open brackets and type in our $sign, close it, and give a space. That was what we have when we some kind of created a particular table. So you have to understand this very well. And right here, I'm going to do the same thing as well. Open, close it. And once we have it closed, I'm going to go with my gross profits. Right now is my gross profit. So I'm going to have to close this. And what we need to do right now, I'm going to have my comma. And quickly, I have to bring my merge right in, which is the result I wanted to some kind of pull out for me. And I have to locate where I have my gross profit, which is this, and I'm going to have my comma right in. And quickly shift enter, I have to paste in this right here. For me not to some kind of go ahead and look for it over and over again, I'm going to say where it is some kind of equal to. Right now I have to go with the revenue. So the same thing, my revenue would have the $sign because it's going to be formatted with $sign. So I'm going to go ahead and say all total revenue. I think I use total revenue. So if either of them is wrong, it's not going to give us what we want. So we have to go ahead and do this. And here we go. We have the total revenue right in. So we have to make sure whatever we have right here is what we're going to have right here. No, we might have it differently because we created this table by giving our own way of how it should actually look like on our slicer, right? So I'm going to have a comma right inside it, shift, enter. And this time around, I'm going to go ahead and paste this again. I'm going to have my comma right here. Okay, sorry, my equal to. So now I have to get for my, quantity ordered. Like this is the ordered quantity. That is QTY. I'm going to close it, my comma. So right now we have to bring it in. So we have to go ahead and locate where we have the quantity ordered. So under comma again, I think we're almost done. So we need to bring in the transaction, right? That is the final one. Shift, enter. And now we paste this right in where it is equal to, our transaction. And I'm going to have to close this, my comma. Now bring it all the measures. And here we have the transaction right here. Okay, now we've just gotten this done. If I right click again, if I put my comma again, so we have to give it the alternative result if this is what it is that we are looking forward to seeing. Or we can decide to remove the alternative result and go ahead and hit enter right now to see what we have done if we are really on it. So let's give it some time to get some kind of, Okay, we have active measure right here. So we are almost at the back end of this dashboard. Before we start some kind of like getting things done the way it should be, let us test it out to see what we have done, if it is okay. Okay, let us insert on that card right here. So our dashboard is becoming something that is not really cool, but don't forget that we're trying to do this to understand what is going on before we clean it up and create the main thing we want. So I have just inserted a new card right now. And for now, I'm just going to deselect nothing by clearing the whole filter away from it. So now the whole filter is away, null filter is being applied. And I want to go ahead and bring in the active measure with some kind of created right inside it right now. I expect to see something blank once we have that dragged in, which we have, just done right now. So here we have the active measure on this particular part right here. Because we have not selected, this is what we have. So we want to give it some kind of alternative result if there is nothing that is being selected. Should we actually want to use this on a card, I want to go right back on it. So click on it again, and quickly we have to open it up and come right here. And before we close it, so we just have to shift enter and enter to open it up. So now I'm going to have my comma right here. So shift enter, and my alternative results is going to come right to be like, I'll select a measure. Select a measure. So I'm going to have to click on OK right now. If that is done, so we can definitely go ahead and see what we have done. So we can go ahead and close this up. Can you see what it is right now? This is what it is. So let me just go ahead and select like cost of goods sold right now to see if this is okay. So now we have the same value right here. So the reason why you're seeing 51.88 right now was because we have some decimal point or decimal places. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and I want to come to this particular auto and some kind of like, turn this into 0, extra decimal. So we have that removed. It's going to give us 52 million US dollars. That is what we should be seeing right here. Okay, which means everything is okay. All right, so I'm going to have to some kind of like try to move it and change the measures to see what it is that we've done. So if I change to gross revenue, we should see a value like this, but we have to still come and play around to see what we can do to have this change to show just something without some kind of extra decimal places. So total revenue. Okay, it says select a measure. Why are we having this? That means we have, you know, something else when we some kind of created it. So we should understand that we have total revenue right here. So maybe we didn't get the spelling right. So revenue, so it's actually coming from here. So we need to go ahead and fix this. So you have to be very careful with what you do. I want to go back to the back end, and here we go. So we have to open this place up. So we just have to type in revenue. So total revenue should be this. Let's hit our enter. And we want to see if maybe we're not wrong from here. We might be wrong in the other part of it. So we can just copy. Okay. Here we have the active. That is okay. Now we can go ahead and check the other side to see what it is that we have. So we go right here. So we want to go to active and see what it is that we have on active. So you just have to check right here. So this is how things should look. Total revenue. Okay, I see we are still having the same issue. So we have to go back to the table and we have to update this one. Total revenue is what we are seeing right here. And when we go right back to this part, let's see what we can do. So we have to reduce this to look just like this. Okay, so here is our total revenue. So I think okay, we just have to refresh. Everything is okay. We have total revenue right here, and we have the same total revenue. If we should go back right now, okay, everything is okay. It's giving us what we want. So this is exactly what we need to do. So right now we have to clean up this whole thing we have right here and start to get very much more, you know, cool with our dashboard. So I can go ahead and take this off by saying remove. I'm going to have it removed. I'm going to come right here and do the same thing to this as well. I'm going to say remove. I don't want to remove this because I'm going to use it right away. So we quickly need to some kind of populate our dashboard to make it look very well, you know, organized.